I don't need a family to haunt. Families are convenient. More eyes, more tension, more blame to spread around. But they're also noisy. Too many voices. Too many explanations thrown like blankets over the truth. A couple is cleaner. Two people, both convinced they know the other completely. Two people who think we would notice if something was wrong because they mistake familiarity for protection. Their names were Ethan and Maya, late 20s. They moved into a small rented house at the edge of town because it was cheap, quiet, and had character. That's what humans call places that already have something inside them. The first week, I stayed subtle. I let them unpack. I let them hang pictures and laugh at how the floors creaked. I let them believe the house was only wood and paint. Then I started living in the gaps between their thoughts. The first time I showed myself, I chose the easiest place, the reflection. Maya was in the bathroom before work, hair damp, eyes half open with sleep. The mirror was fogged at the edges from the shower, the light above it too bright. She leaned closer to put on mascara, and in the mirror, behind her, there was a silhouette in the doorway, tall, still, too dark to belong to the hallway. Maya's hand froze. The mascara wand hovered near her lashes. She blinked. It was gone. Her reflection stared back at her, wide-eyed and pale. The doorway behind her was empty. The hall light was off like always. She laughed softly, the way people laugh when they need reality to behave. "Okay," she whispered to herself. "I'm not awake yet." When she told Ethan that night, she made it sound like nothing. "I thought I saw someone in the bathroom mirror," she said, stirring pasta too aggressively. Like a shadow. Ethan didn't even look up from his phone. "Babe, that's a horror movie," he said. "You're just tired." I loved him for that. Dismissal is a door I can walk through. The second time, I chose Ethan. He woke at 2:44 a.m. with his mouth dry and his head full of static. He rolled over, expecting Maya's warm body beside him. She wasn't there. He sat up, blinking into darkness. The bedside lamp was off. The digital clock glowed red, 2:44. He listened. A faint sound from the hallway, something like a slow footstep on wood. Ethan frowned, annoyed, already forming explanations. Maya in the kitchen, Maya in the bathroom, Maya scrolling on her phone because she couldn't sleep. He got out of bed and opened the bedroom door. The hallway nightlight cast a weak pool of illumination. The corridor looked normal, plain walls, framed photos, the bathroom door at the end. And for one fraction of a second, I stood in that pool of light. Not a full figure, not a face. Just a shape too tall and too narrow, shoulders angled wrong, head slightly tilted as if I was listening to him breathe. Ethan's lungs stopped. He blinked once. I was gone. His brain tried to correct itself instantly. It shoved me into the category of shadows and sleep and stupid imagination. He stood there, bare feet cold on the floor, heart thudding, hard enough to make his ears pulse. "Maya," he called, voice tight. No answer. He turned on the hallway light. The brightness snapped the corridor into ordinary shapes. No silhouette, no movement, just doors and paint and his own fear looking for somewhere to land. He didn't go farther. He shut the bedroom door quietly and crawled back into bed like a man trying not to wake something. In the morning, Maya said she'd slept the whole night. She hadn't gotten up once. Ethan didn't tell her what he'd seen. Not yet, because saying it out loud makes it real. The third time, I made sure they both saw me. They were watching TV on the couch, a dumb comedy show, volume too high because laughter feels like armor. Their bodies were relaxed, feet tangled under a blanket, the house dim except for the blue flicker of the screen. Maya got up to refill her water. As she walked past the dark window by the front door, she slowed. The glass was black, reflecting the living room faintly. The TV light shimmered across it like water, and for a single frame, so fast it barely belonged to time, my silhouette appeared in the reflection behind her. Not in the room, in the reflection, standing directly behind her shoulder. Maya gasped and spun around. Nothing. Her heart pounded visibly in her throat. She stared into the living room, into the hallway, into the empty corners like she was trying to catch the world cheating. "Ethan," she said, voice thin. Did you see that?" Ethan looked up, annoyed at first. Then he saw her face. "What?" he asked. Maya pointed at the window. There was... Before she could finish, Ethan's eyes flicked to the glass, and I gave him his proof. 1 millisecond. In the window reflection, behind Maya's head, my shape appeared again, closer this time, darker, as if the glass wasn't glass at all, but a doorway I could press against. Ethan's mouth opened. No sound came out. He blinked, gone. The silence that followed was heavy and immediate. Even the TV laughter sounded wrong now, too distant, too unaware. Maya's hands trembled. "You saw it," she whispered. Ethan swallowed hard. His eyes stayed fixed on the window like it might blink back. "Yeah," he managed. "Yeah, I saw something." Maya backed toward the couch, knees weak. "What is this? Is someone messing with us?" Ethan stood slowly, like sudden movement might trigger something. "There's no one outside," he said, but he didn't sound convinced. He sounded like a man trying to convince himself. Maya's voice dropped to a whisper. "It was behind me." Ethan's jaw clenched. I saw it too. And that was the turning point. Because once two people share the same impossible image, denial stops working. It can't be a dream. It can't be exhaustion. It can't be a trick of light. It becomes a third presence in the house, silent, patient, watching. I stayed hidden after that. I didn't need to show myself again right away, not when I could already feel what was happening between them. Maya watching Ethan to see if he believed her, Ethan watching Maya to see if she was losing it, both of them listening for footsteps, for breathing, for anything that would confirm what they already knew. The best hauntings aren't built on violence, they're built on certainty. And now, every time they blinked in the dark, they waited for me to be there again, just one frame, close enough to ruin sleep forever. I didn't break into her house. That's the mistake people make when they try to understand me. They picture forced locks, shattered windows, a shadow slipping through the kitchen. Something dramatic, something they can point to afterward and say, that's when it started. No, I was already there when she signed the papers. I was in the narrow space behind the drywall where the air is stale and warm, in the thin gaps under the floorboards where dust collects like skin, in the crawl space that smells of soil and old wood. The house had been built around a quiet absence, and I fit inside it perfectly. Her name was Clara. She moved in on a Sunday with cardboard boxes and tired optimism. The first night, she slept on a mattress on the floor with her phone charging beside her like a talisman. I listened to her breathing until it deepened. Then I tested her, a soft scrape inside the wall above her head. Once, twice, like a rat, like settling pipes, like any harmless excuse the human mind loves to use. Clara's eyes opened. I felt it immediately, her attention snapping into place. She held her breath and listened. I stopped. That's important. You can't push too hard at the beginning. You have to let them convince themselves they're safe. You have to let them build their own denial, brick by brick, until it becomes a prison. The next night, I moved something small, not a chair, not anything obvious. Just the teaspoon she used for coffee, placed neatly in the bathroom sink. She found it in the morning and stood there for a long time, staring, trying to remember if she'd carried it in there. She laughed once, quietly. The laugh was for herself, not because it was funny. By the third night, she started checking the front door twice. On the fourth, she called her sister and said lightly, "This house makes noises. It's probably settling." She kept her voice playful, but I could hear the tremor underneath. Humans always try to make fear sound normal. I love that most. I waited a full week before I touched the lights. Just one flicker while she brushed her teeth, a brief dimming like a blink, then stable again. Clara froze with toothpaste foam at the corner of her mouth, eyes fixed on her reflection, as if her own face might change first. Her pupils were wide, her throat bobbed. "Okay," she whispered to herself. "Okay." That was the word she used whenever she needed her reality to stay where she left it. I learned her routines quickly, the way she padded barefoot into the kitchen at 7:12 a.m., the way she hummed off key while making toast, the way she sat on the couch at night with the TV too loud, trying to fill the house with voices that weren't hers. She started sleeping with the bedroom door shut, then locked. I didn't need the door. I was in the house the way mold is in a wall, quiet, patient, inevitable. The first time I spoke, I didn't use words. I used her own name. Clara was half asleep when I did it, curled on her side, face pressed into the pillow. I let the whisper slide through the vent above her bed, thin as breath. "Clara?" Her body jerked. She sat up so fast her hair stuck to her cheeks. "What?" she said aloud, to an empty room. I stayed silent long enough for her to feel ridiculous, long enough for her to think she'd dreamed it. Then I whispered again, just once, "Clara." She reached for her phone with shaking hands and turned on the flashlight. The beam swept across the walls, the closet door, the corners. every place humans believe darkness hides in. Nothing. Of course, nothing. The mind hates an enemy it cannot locate. It will search until it wears itself raw. After that night, she stopped playing music. She stopped leaving the shower curtain closed. She started checking the closets before bed, one by one, with the lights on, holding a kitchen knife that made her feel brave. I watched her stand in the hallway at midnight, knife in hand, whispering, "This is stupid. This is stupid." Then she did the thing I wanted most. She said, carefully, softly, into the quiet, "Is someone there?" A question is an invitation. Humans don't know that, but houses do. I didn't answer right away. I let the silence stretch, thick and heavy. I let her heartbeat do the talking. I let her mind fill the gap with every terrible possibility. Then I gave her something small, something impossible, a slow exhale from inside the wall behind her. Not a draft, not a creak, a breath. Clara's eyes went glassy. Her knife hand lowered without her permission. Her shoulders rose, rigid, like her body was trying to crawl up into her head and hide. She didn't run. She couldn't. She just stood there, frozen in the hallway, staring at the wallpaper like it might split open. "Who?" she started, but her voice died. I let my presence press closer, not visible, only felt. The air cooled, the smell of damp earth seeped into the hall, like the house had opened its mouth. And then, very gently, right beside her ear, so close my whisper could have been a strand of hair moving, I finally used words. "I'm here," I said. Clara's breath hitched, sharp and broken. Her eyes slid toward the wall, toward the place where no door existed. She understood then, not as an idea, not as a fear, as a fact. She was not alone, and I didn't need to show myself yet, because the moment she believed me, I had already stepped inside her. I didn't choose the father. I didn't choose the mother. They were loud in their own way, busy, distracted, always filling the house with plans and explanations. Adults are noisy on the inside. Their minds never go quiet enough to hear me properly. The little one was different. That's why I let them buy the house. They arrived with 2 cars and too many boxes. The father sweating through his shirt. The mother barking orders like the world would fall apart if a lamp went to the wrong room. The older boy, 12, angry in the casual way boys get when they're forced into new places, dragged his feet and complained about the Wi-Fi. And then there was the younger one, small, soft-spoken, the kind of child who pauses in doorways as if he can feel the shape of the air before he walks into it. He didn't talk much while they unpacked. He just watched, eyes following corners, vents, the thin crack beneath the stairs. The first night, the parents fell asleep fast, exhausted. The 12-year-old stayed awake with his tablet until it slipped from his hands. The younger boy lay in his bed with his stuffed animal pressed to his chest, staring at the ceiling. I waited until the house settled, then I moved. Not a bang, not a crash, just a faint, careful scrape inside the wall behind the younger boy's headboard. A sound so small the adult brain would file it under pipes or wind. The child didn't. His fingers tightened around the toy. His breathing stopped for a second, as if his body knew stillness might protect him. I stopped too. I let silence return, warm and ordinary, so he would wonder if he imagined it. He didn't wonder long. He whispered into the dark, barely moving his lips. "Who's there?" A question, a gift. I didn't answer with words, not yet. I answered with certainty. One slow, deliberate tap from inside the wall. The child's eyes widened. In the dim glow of his nightlight, his face looked too pale, as if fear had drained him instantly. He didn't scream. He didn't run to his parents. He simply turned his head toward the wall and listened, like he was trying to hear a voice behind a door. I liked him immediately. The next morning, he sat at the kitchen table while his mother made cereal. The father scrolled his phone. The older boy complained again about the internet. The younger boy didn't eat. He stared at the hallway that led back to his room. "I heard someone last night," he said softly. His mother didn't even look up. "That's the house settling, sweetheart." The father chuckled without humor. "Old places creak." The 12-year-old smirked. "It's rats, big rats." The younger one lowered his eyes. He stopped talking. He learned the first lesson. Adults teach children without meaning to. If you can't explain it, you'll be laughed at. So he kept me to himself. That night, I made it slightly worse. I didn't touch the parents. They were too certain of their own explanations. I didn't touch the older boy. He would turn everything into a joke to protect his pride. I touched the little one's certainty. While he lay in bed, I shifted the air in his room, just enough for the temperature to drop. Not freezing, just wrong. The kind of cold that doesn't come from outside, but from something being near. He sat up slowly, eyes shining. He looked toward the closet. The closet door was open a finger's width. It hadn't been. He got out of bed and pattered across the floor, stuffed animal clutched like a shield. He pushed the closet door open fully, peering into hanging shirts. And darkness. Nothing. Of course nothing. Children don't need to see me to believe. They feel me the way animals do, as pressure, as attention. He backed away, and as he did, I let the closet door close again, smoothly, quietly, without his hands on it. He froze mid-step. His mouth opened on a sound that never became a scream. Then he ran, not to his parents' room, to his brother. The 12-year-old was half asleep when the little one shook his arm. "There's someone in my room," the child whispered, voice cracking. I heard it. It breathed. The older boy sat up, irritated. "Shut up. It's late." "It's real," the little one insisted, tears gathering. "Please." The older boy rubbed his face, angry in the way older siblings get when they're forced to be responsible. "Fine," he muttered. "I'll check. Just stop crying." He stood up and marched down the hallway like bravery was something you could fake until it worked. The little one followed close behind, trembling. I watched them approach the bedroom door. The older boy flipped on the hallway light. "See?" "Nothing," he said, too loud. He pushed the bedroom door open. The room looked normal. Bed, posters, a small nightlight glowing softly. The older boy stepped in, confident now, and laughed. "Told you," he said. "You're just being..." That's when I gave them the turning point. From inside the wall behind the headboard, I let out a slow exhale, a breath close enough to hear the wetness in it, close enough to feel it as a cool brush against skin. The older boy stopped speaking mid-word, his face drained, his eyes slid to the wall as if it had become alive. The little one whispered, barely audible, vindicated and terrified at once, "You heard it." The older boy swallowed. His throat made a small clicking sound. Suddenly the hallway felt longer behind him. The house felt heavier. He tried to laugh again. It came out broken. "Okay," he said quietly. "Okay, that was." I tapped the wall, once, twice. Then, very gently, I scratched from the inside, slow and deliberate, like a fingernail dragging along wood, like something testing the boundary between hiding and being found. The older boy backed out of the room without taking his eyes off the wall. He grabbed his little brother's shoulder, gripping too hard. "We're going to Mom and Dad," he said, voice thin. The little one didn't resist, because now it wasn't just his fear. Now someone else had heard me, and I stayed behind the wall, unseen, smiling into the darkness, because the best hauntings are the ones that finally become a shared truth. They had noticed me, and that meant the house was mine again.